Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway. The USF Pro 2000 cars rolling their way out onto the grid as the class before has now vacated that area. The drivers working their way out here now, and again, 19 drivers set to go to fire up their first race. As again, a double header here for drivers in USF Pro 2000 and in USF 2000. We'll see those USF 2000 drivers on Saturday and Sunday. One of those drivers, thankfully, joining me here right now in the broadcast booth, Evagoras Papasavas from J. Howard Driver Development, coming in fourth place in points after a great run. Evagoras at St. Petersburg, couple of good runs for you. How excited are you to get on this racetrack tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Second place in St. Petersburg. Very good result for me and the team. And second in St. Petersburg, so how does first place sound here?
That's right? One more spot.
Yep, just one more.
What do you think about Sebring? I know you told me before you had quite a bit of time to test here. This is a bumpy racetrack. It's one that I think that if you're comfortable at, you're going to be quicker. If you don't feel comfortable with the bumps, you're going to be more tentative. How about you? Are you going to be aggressive when we go racing tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very comfortable with this track. A lot of time at this track, as this is actually during the off season. We only went to this track,
wow.
Sebring, no other track. So we have a lot of experience here. Very comfortable with the track, and I'm very comfortable with the car. A lot of experience in the car. So it's all going to come down to racing. Going to be very aggressive. Get those positions.
J. Howard Driver Development with a couple of pilots in this race here as well. We'll go through the grid here momentarily, but as those cars get themselves up here, we'll chat more here with Evagoras. But you do have a couple of teammates in the USF Pro 2000 category. You think you'll be able to maybe sit down and talk to them maybe about the way the track is, the track conditions, whatever it may be. It's obviously a different race car. They have more horsepower, more downforce, more brakes, more tire, more everything. But do you think you'll sit down with your teammates Ricardo Scotto and Risu Sujima after the day to talk about it before you go on track tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a different car, like you said, but it's the same racetrack. And, right after the conditions haven't changed much, the track is always changing, but I think I definitely can talk to them, see how it felt for them, how the track felt, because they've been on the track when, let's say, it doesn't feel good and when it does feel good and how that, transfers like that. So, being able to talk to them how the track feels, give me some background information before I go on track.
They were also on track at 8:30 this morning, which is key. They got their practice session in USF Pro 2000 or 8:35 this morning, and it was significantly cooler. It's interesting. Right now at about 88 degrees here, ambient temperature trackside, right around what we expected to be the high, but it was 60-something degrees this morning, so that kind of changes things as well. As you know, cooler in the morning. It's going to be hotter when you go racing in the afternoon tomorrow. That's one thing to think about, too, because the cooler air is going to make everything a little bit different when you roll out on track for practice tomorrow morning.
Yeah, the cooler air, we make more power. The engine makes more power. Just the car in general is cooler. The track's cooler, so everything is a little bit faster, a little bit different. We practice at 8:30 in the morning and then qualify around midday, I say, and then we race in the afternoon. So it's going to be the key is going to be able to adapt to those different track conditions, and that's what's going to put you on your podium.
All of these drivers have to adapt to the conditions this afternoon right now, and they're all set to go on pit lane, folks. It's time to get things underway. 19 drivers ready to roll. We'll give you the driver grid after this, but right now, let's get things underway. Drivers, start your engines. And with that, 19 engines coming to life, the elite engine power plants in the back of all these Tatis IP22 cars. Let's have a look at the 19-car grid that's about set to roll off pit lane here at Sebring to fire up their component, their first of two races here at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring. We'll have 19 drivers in the field, tail of the field. In the number 93 for Exclusive Autosport in the C4 Energy Drink Machine, it is Lindsey Brewer. Brewer in the number 93 starting 19th. Row number 9, we'll have Nicolas Monteiro for Neotech, the driver from the Brazilian F4 Series, working his way up here into USF Pro 2000, the number 81 starting 18th, alongside Jackson Lee at Avon, Indiana in the Turn 3 Motorsport number 47. Row number 8, Jack William Miller on the outside in the number 40, and on the inside, Ricardo Escoto, the Mexican for J. Howard Driver Development in the number 4. Row 7, we'll see Christian Weir, driver we've watched in USF 2000 for the last couple of years, number 32 for TJ Speed, starting on the outside of row number 7. And on the inside, in the number 7 machine, it'll be Bajoy Garg. Garg out of Atherton, California. Garg in the number 7 for D-Force Racing. Into the top 12 now, row 6, Yuban Sundaramurthy out of Delafield, Wisconsin. In the number 90, the Indian-American driver for Exclusive Autosport, starting in the 12th position. Inside from Ireland, number 2, Jonathan Brown from Turn 3 Motorsports. Row 5, Salvador de Alba, 2 times a winner last year in this USF Pro 2000 category. The number 91 driving for Exclusive Autosport. P10 start for him. And on the inside, another winner from last year, second place in points right now for D-Force Racing, Kiko Porto. In the number 12, a former USF 2000 champion. He'll start from 9th. So it will be Porto and de Alba on row 5. Reese Ushijima, talked about him already. One of Ivo Goris's teammates at J. Howard Driver Development. He will start in the 8th position outside of row number 4. And Liram Zendelli for TJ Speed, the German running under the Albanian flag, will start 7th in the number 10. Look out for the drivers here on row number 3. Joel Gransforth, second last year in GB3, looking pretty good here. The number 92 for Exclusive Autosport. He's dialed things in. He'll start 6th. And on the inside, the reigning USF 2000 champion, Michael D'Orlando, in the number 1 scholarship car, running for Turn 3 Motorsport. He'll start P5. Drivers working their way out of turn number 10 as they continue this warm-up lap to go green next time by. Road number 2 will have Jordan Missing on the outsides. The Paps Racing guys looking very good, occupying 3 of the top 4 positions. Jordan Missing out of Illinois, the number 19 second-year driver for Paps Racing, in the 4th position. Inside of that row, Francesco Pizzi, the Italian in the 55, leading the way for the TJ Speed crew. Pizzi starting P3. 19 drivers in the field, put 2 on the front row, off pole. Driver was in a battle, at least both these drivers actually in the battle for the championship at USF 2000 last year. Miles Rowe in the Paps Racing with Force Indy Machine, the number 99. Starting on the outside of the front row and laying down a qualifying lap of 1:58.405. Grabbing a point there. Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona. In the number 20, will start on the pole. It'll be Denmark and Rowe on row 1. Pizzi and Missig row 2. D'Orlando and Grand Force on row 3, Zendelli and Ushijima on row 4. Row 5, Porto alongside De Alba. Row 6 is Brown and Sundaramurthy. Row 7, Garg and Weir. Row 8, Escoto and Miller. Row 9, Lee and Montiero. And on row number 10, Lindsey Brewer. We'll bring you in really quickly here, Eva Goris. This is it. This is the cool up lap. Get yourself ready to go. What's going through your mind as you're coming down 16 to 17?
Well, as a driver, you need to make sure that your tires are good and up to temperature for that first lap, because that's where the positions are going to be made the first lap. So you need to make sure your car is up, warm, and you need to make sure that if you are not on the front row, you need to make sure that you are as close to the car in front as possible to not leave much of a gap. And if you are on the pole, make sure you stay in your lane, get a good start as flag goes green.
There we go. Indeed, everybody in a little bit different situation, all with a different attack. And we still have yellow, I believe. Looking out here, yeah, still full course yellow. I thought we were getting ready to go for green. I think everybody else was. The USF Pro Championships pace car did not head into pit lane, so one more lap. So anybody who may have struggled potentially with getting their heat built into the tires are going to get one more lap to do so. And again, that's what, of course, Eva Goris was saying. You have to build the heat into the tires. Not only that, you build the heat into the brakes as well. You kind of ride those brakes a little bit. The heat from the discs will then get into the wheel as well. That will heat up the tire from the inside. All the strategies you use to make sure the tire is at as high a temperature as you can when you roll into turn number 1.
Yeah, it's very important to have your tires warmed up, and stuff like this, it doesn't happen all the time, so you can't be counting on getting a yellow flag instead of a green to get that second lap. So you need to make sure that on the first lap, on the warm-up lap, coming to the last corner, that you are lined up as close to the car in front as possible. Your brakes, your tires are warm, you're warmed up, everything, you got to be ready to go, because once it goes green, it goes green.
Indeed, and the driver, actually, we'll give a shout out here. The driver who is actually behind the wheel of the pace car today is a former kart racer, Morgan Healy-Maskey, who is on her honeymoon here this weekend with her husband, John Maskey, IMSA race director and race official, is driving our pace car. I've had a chance to watch Morgan throughout many years of racing, so great to see her behind the wheel. She does a lot of work with us in timing and scoring as well, but driving the safety car here today. Being told one of the drivers potentially having some trouble, it might be Kiko Porto. We'll hope to get some more information there. But again, one more warm-up lap to work their way around. Let's talk a little bit about turn number 1, then Eva Goris. Obviously, last year, after an injury at a karting event at the end of 2021, you weren't able to start 2022, having to be in the hospital, a little bit of an injury that you didn't go straight to the hospital after the injury, but there was something you had to get taken care of. So St. Petersburg, you'd never been there before, and we talked about the fact there was nothing, the packed full of rookies in USF 2000. that opening corner, your first time having to tackle that opening corner, so wide on the entry. It's a treacherous corner. I think turn one at Sebring very similar because there's, you get off on the outside of turn one, you carry too much speed and you're in the grass, you could get into trouble. Is there any concern about turn one? You were able to do it in St. Petersburg. Do you have any concern at turn one when you go racing tomorrow?
For me, I don't really have much of concern. I mean, just making sure not to go too wide, because obviously you get onto the dirty part of the track, and then that is when you're at risk for going off into the grass and potentially into the wall to end your race. So, for me, just to, stay somewhat safe, not too safe, not letting everyone go by me, but also just being safe and being aggressive enough to possibly make a move around the outside if you keep it tight to the driver next to you.
It's interesting. A lot of times when you are being the aggressor, you may be even safer. You're kind of taking control of the corner as opposed to let everything happen and then having to react. You're kind of you're being more proactive than reactive. I think sometimes that puts you in a better position when you're coming into a start like that, an opening corner.
Yeah, I mean, when you are attacking a driver, they're reacting to what you're doing. They're going defensive down the inside. So in a way, I guess you could say that you do have the control over the corner. You can keep it tight to the driver in front, make sure not to make contact, but to keep it tight, because the wall is a few feet in past the white lines. You could really push the track limits and get close to each other.
Lining up once again. This time the drivers are ready to go. The Pabst Racing front row on the outside coming through Sunset Bend. He'll have the inside of turn number one. That is Jace Denmark alongside his teammate Miles Rowe. Row two, Francesco Pizzi and Jordan Missig. That's row two. Field looking good as they get ready to roll up here. And for the first of two races for USF Pro 2000, we are green, green, green. And right to the bottom of the racetrack goes Rowe to try to defend to the inside. Pizzi immediately dives to the wide to the outside. Here comes Rowe to the inside of Denmark. He'll try to get him to the inside. Denmark's going to try to roll the outside. He'll get up over the curve. How much did Rowe have to get off it? He's going to lead to the inside of the corner. Rowe's going to come out with the lead here, and coming into the, I believe, third spot, is it going to be Pizzi? He's fighting hardcore with Jordan Missig. Missig throws it to the bottom, and I believe that is Missig potentially in to the third spot. We are now underway. An issue with Kiko Porto, indeed, who has fallen to the tail of the field. Maybe even Michael D'Orlando. That's D'Orlando here, I think. Yeah, D'Orlando's going to pull the car off to the inside of the back straightaway. So a couple of cars off. I believe that might be Joel Grandforce actually able to attack from sixth. He could be the driver into P3. So Grandforce potentially to the third spot. We'll have a look as they come out of turn number 7 through 8, 9. We're going to see them pop into the view here of turn number 10. There's your leader, Miles Rowe. And I think that is indeed, that is Denmark into second and Joel Grandforce jumping up into P3 in the exclusive Autosport number 92. Good start for him. Tough one for the last couple of USF 2000 champions. Michael D'Orlando and Kiko Porto are not going to get the opening lap in the books. That hurts both of those drivers coming into the event here. Where were they? Porto P2 in the championship. Yeah, he was second at both races at St. Petersburg. D'Orlando was back in 17th. He needed to have a really good run. He's going to refire that car, I believe. Indeed, you watch him sliding to the inside. He's going to try to get that thing back to pit lane. I don't know if he was hoping to bring out a yellow, but right now as they work their way up here, you can see a bit of a wave back and forth. Look at the blocking down to the bottom of the racetrack, deep in the field as well. That's a scrap, I think, between Christian Weir and Jack Miller. That's at the tail of the field. There's Lindsay Brewer in that C4 energy machine. She'll work her way here again, trying to stick right there with Jackson Lee. Leader stretching away just a little bit. The number 55 of Pizzi now. Seeing if he can't roll back up here on Joel Grandforce. So Grandforce in the exclusive Autosport car chasing these two Pabst Racing machines of Miles Rowe. And no, we have full course yellow. Full course yellow. I would assume for the car of Pizzi, you can see the safety car is out. The drivers have brought themselves down to speed. They were at it coming out of turn 17, saw the yellow flag, and we'll slow things down. So the first yellow flag of the weekend, we did not get one yet for USF Juniors. They went green to checker in both of the races, and this one's not even an incident. I don't think any drivers got together. Of course, I think it was potentially a mechanical problem for Kiko Porto. Not sure where he is on the racetrack. One of my spotters telling me potentially 10 and 11, Kiko Porto, so tough for him. That's got to be a mechanical.
Yeah, and stuff like that, you can't do anything about that. It's it just happens. So yeah, it's frustrating. But I believe they do have another race. So, there's always that time to get the car fixed and to give it another go in the next race.
Yeah, fight back in the second race of the doubleheader here this week. And once again, Ivagoras Papasavas joining me from Jay Howard Driver Development. Young driver that we saw last year, did a half season in USF 2000, but will run the full program this year with Jay Howard, as we had said. Coming into the program now, 4th place in points. Had a pretty strong run, 2nd and 4th in those 2 races at St. Petersburg. He'll look to maintain that momentum when they head back onto the track. Of course, those drivers, USF 2000, running here on Saturday and Sunday. So again, we have a little stoppage here as an issue for Kiko Porto. Michael D'Orlando, I believe, able to get himself back into pit lane. A couple other drivers maybe with some issues as well. But here is the lineup as they run here after the initial battling. Miles Rowe taking the lead, as we saw from Jace Denmark. Got a better run down the straightaway. Denmark came to the outside, didn't block all the way to the bottom. And Rowe immediately on the green dove to the left side of the racetrack and held that bottom. And as soon as his teammate Denmark started to come a bit to driver's right to set up for the corner, he just kind of tucked to the inside. They went side by side out of 1, 2, through 2, over to 3. And Miles Rowe taking control of the lead. Denmark slotting back into second, but the man on the move early was Joel Grandforce in the exclusive Autosport number 92. Again, great to have him here. Runner-up last year, the GB3 Series over in Europe. Now up into the 3rd spot, Francesco Pizzi in 4th. Liram Zendelli in 5th. Jordan Missick 6th. Reese Usajima up a couple spots into 7th. Salvador de Alba 8th. Yuven Sundar Murthy started 12th. He goes up 3 spots into 9th. And Jonathan Brown rounding out the top 10 right now. So, indeed, the AMR IndyCar safety crew and the track crew here at Sebring will do their best to get this track cleared up. Still full course yellow being shown here at start-finish. So I assume we'll go back one time around. We know that we saw the issue with Michael D'Orlando. He brought that car to a stop on the back straightaway, but then it was able to get himself back down here. I don't know that he's still on pit lane or not. And D'Orlando, only 1 lap in the books. Same with Nicholas Montiero, and the same with Ricardo Escoto. Kiko Porto not even getting 1 lap in. So apparently what we're being told is that it's not actually D'Orlando or Porto that brought out the incident. It was Ricardo Escoto and Nicholas Montiero, those drivers, I think, getting contact potentially that has brought this yellow out over in turn number 7. So that would be the end of the back straightaway. Indeed, as I look over my shoulder here, there are safety crews over in turn number 7. That's down by the hotel. That long straightaway leads into a tight right-hander. And it looks to me, from based on what I see, that the incident could actually potentially be on the exit of the corner. So they maybe were able to get out of that corner cleanly and then had contact coming through. So being told that it is potentially under review from race control. But yeah, there is work to be done after an incident on the racetrack. We'll see some yellow time happen here as the drivers working their way through 1 and 2. Miles Rowe there leading Jace Denmark. I'm sure Denmark not pleased at all losing the lead, having qualified on the pole. He would like to have, I think, let out of the opening corner, but not surprised at all that Miles Rowe got aggressive. That's really part of his DNA in terms of his racing career that we've seen. He is aggressive, will make the move all the time. And Ivagoras, you said this, very interesting. You know, the opening lap, especially the start, that's the best opportunity to make overtakes. Yeah, you can make a mistake and essentially end your race. You can't win it in the opening corner. You can lose it, but, man, it's just so enticing because that's your best opportunity when you're side by side to be able to make those positions up.
Yeah, that's the best opportunity because during the race, if you're following a car in front of you, with these cars, you get the dirty air from the wings. So you know that in the corners, you don't obviously have the performance, so it's harder to stay close to them. And yes, down the straight, you do get a little bit of the slipstream to suck up to them. But yeah, during the start, that's really because everyone's the closest there, so you can make anywhere from like 1 to maybe even like half the field if there's any sort of wreck. So the first lap, it's all or nothing there.
Yeah, we saw Joel Grandforce get a couple of spots there as well. Those of you watching online could see that the flatbed truck actually on its way over to turn number 7 right now. So obviously some major damage to at least one or both of those cars of Ricardo Escoto and Nicholas Montiero. Escoto for Jay Howard Driver Development and Nicholas Montiero for Neotech Motorsports, the new team. But indeed, as Ivagoras said, one of the things about these cars, if you can get a pass done on a start or a restart, it's much easier because especially with the sweeping corners here, we mentioned the fact that coming from USF 2000 to USF Pro 2000, there's just more of everything. that car that was designed for USF 2000 coming, as the new car back in 17 to replace the old Van Diemen, that Van Diemen had a lot of aero downforce. They dialed it back a lot more mechanical grip than aero downforce on the USF 17, which is now the USF 22. But then you pile the downforce back on when you want that more grip for the drivers in Pro 2000, and that's it. Because you get the more aero, then you get the aero wash. And a lot of drivers will complain about that at a track like a Road America coming through, let's say, the downhill carousel when you're trying to get in behind somebody. You have to have some of that wing over to get some air rolling over the front of the car. There are some fast sweepers here too, Ivagoras, and that's the issue, right? If you get behind somebody, it's tough to pass here, even if you're coming right behind them through turn number 16.
Yeah, it's those long sweeping corners. That's really where the wings, the downforce comes in. In slower corners like turn 7, where it's a very hard braking zone. That is, the mechanical grip is that's what's important there. You get the slipstream coming up out of turn 5, so that's really one of the best passing opportunities on the track right there.
Once again, Ivagoras Papasavas, a USF 2000 driver, joining me. We're putting them to work here right now. The guys that were with me here in USF Juniors, they only had a couple little things to say because we went green to checker in both these races. Obviously, putting our guest driver here to work during these yellow flag periods. Again, Miles Rowe, the leader, Chase Denmark in second, Joel Granforce, Francesco Pizzi, and Liram Zendelli there as the top 5. Jordan Missing in 6th, Risu Shijima in 7th. Salvador de Alba in 8th, Yuvan Sundaramurthy 9th, and Jonathan Brown rounding out the current top 10. There is Michael D. Orlando there in these USF Pro 2000 scholarship livery. Back out onto the racetrack, and good for him to get back out on track because even one more lap's going to put him a couple of spots up. And he did not have the weekend he wanted at all at St. Petersburg. D. Orlando at 18th and an 11th. Puts him 17th in points, but because of the success up front of the Miles Rose and the Kiko Porto and Francisco Pizzi and Christian Brooks, who's not here, he's not that far back coming in. D. Orlando at 13 points was only 7 points behind Jonathan Brown in 8th, 11 points behind Zendelli, 14 points, 12 or 13 points behind Granforce, so not that far back, but this second DNF, or not DNF, but second issue that puts him further to the tail of the field. Not what you need, as you know, Ivagoras. When you're starting the season, man, you just want to lock some good results so that you can make sure you're in the fight up front.
Yeah, I mean, all mechanical issues really a nightmare when it's like your first season in like any kind of series, because it's all about logging those laps, getting as many miles under your belt as you can. To learn as many things, how the car feels when you do this or that, stuff like that.
15 laps or a window of 40 minutes for the drivers here in USF Pro 2000. Their first run here at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring. Rob Howden here in the booth alongside Ivagoras Papasavas. Let's talk about you right now. Give you the opportunity here. Second and fourth in the opening round at St. Petersburg. So you're on the podium. That was big. I know you're super excited about that. But you roll in here now sitting fourth place in points. You're only 10 points out of P1, which is Lockie Hughes. First, my question would be, were you surprised by the success, the pace at St. Petersburg, or was that kind of what you were expecting rolling in?
That was kind of what I was expecting. I said this in St. Petersburg. I really do like street courses. Same with Toronto. I'm very excited to go over there. I was expecting it as during testing. We did a lot of testing here at Sebring. Very bumpy, so almost like you could say a permanent street course.
Well, that's why IndyCar tests here all the time, right? They test here to be ready for St. Petersburg. Exactly right.
Yeah, so we knew that we were very fast in testing, consistently in the top 5, top 10. So I was expecting to do good in St. Petersburg, but, it's always great to actually get that result and step onto the podium.
So the next question then is, how do those results potentially change your thought for the rest of the season? Now, obviously, you're out of the gate here right now, right? You're in that, I always say St. Petersburg. Winning there doesn't guarantee you the championship, but it's definitely going to put you to the conversation for the rest of the year. Number one, how does it feel being in that conversation, knowing you could be racing for a scholarship? And does it change the way you approach maybe this weekend or when we get to Indianapolis in May?
Yeah, I mean, it changes a little bit because that kind of mystery before the season starts of knowing where is everyone pace-wise, that's gone now that the round at St. Petersburg is over. And being in that top 5 in points, getting myself into the conversation, it feels good, competing at the front as, everyone wants to compete at the front, and only a few can. So being able to do that feels good.
I think the cool thing for you as well, and for your teammate Lockie Hughes, is you've got a couple of guys, yourself and Lockie, with good speed. You're going to be able to go back and forth. You're going to be able to look at your data, and the other drivers you have on the team, Luca and Al, are going to be able to kind of play off of your data as well. It's going to kind of bring everybody back up.
Yeah, I think definitely by the end of the season, as a team, we'll all be in the top 10. And me and Lockie, we have a good relationship. We share data. We talk about races, how that went for both of us. So it's very good also to have a good relationship with your teammates.
Agreed. Yeah.
Off track and on the track, all that stuff, because, they're your teammates.
That's it. You want to be able to use them on track. Pace car is gone, folks. I think we're going to be going back racing. We'll see whether or not it happens this time out. You can see the final drivers coming through here. Indeed, I believe. And, yeah, the green flag is flying. We're underway. Back at it once again. As the drivers work their way down, you can see a little bit of a weave there for Miles Rowe to see if he can't defend, to get a feel of what he's got going. A nice little gap. He gets a good jump on the green and holds off his teammate Jace Denmark. Graham Force slotting into that second spot. Pizzi now running in fourth rather. Behind Pizzi is his teammate Liram Zendelli. So we're back underway. 5 laps in the books, 10 more to go. As an extended yellow flag period for an incident on the racetrack involving Ricardo Escoto and Nicolas Monteiro. Took a little time to get cleaned up, but the crew doing a tremendous job. We only lost a couple of laps there, about 3 in total. Back at it right now is Rowe jumping into that early lead. They'll work their way around the sweeper through turn number 7. Everybody looking clean through 7 right now. We'll lose them for a bit, and they'll pop back into review when they get through that 8-9 combination over to turn number 10, kind of a sweeping corner at the back part of the racetrack, into the braking zone here, the right-hander of turn number 10. And we will see Rowe be the first driver to come through, out onto the rumbles, and look at this battle further back. Yeah, Joel Gramforth putting some pressure on Jace Denmark, and in the meantime, those two TJ Speed drivers, Pizzi and Zendelli, looking very aggressive, hungry for a spot to work their way onto the podium very early in the run here, though. We'll see who gets aggressive first, and it may be that run down into 17. It could be the run into turn number 1. A little more breathing room this time through 15 for Denmark. Gramforth trying to get the speed. Look behind them, too, right there. Ushijima, and then De Alba, then Sunder Murthy, all ready to fight. Everybody picking up more pace throughout the day, and we'll see them get more speed tomorrow as well. 88 degrees here trackside. It's a warm one. And again, leader weaving a bit on the straightaway. Big gap right now for Rowe. He's stepping things up here. You can see those cars, the suspension travel not near as much as you have on the prototypes that we saw here last weekend at the 12 Hours of Sebring. These cars much more stiffly sprung. So it is a rough ride for these drivers coming through Sunset Bend, turn number 17. The gap now, first and second, you can see it's about 7 or 8 car lengths. So pretty good advancement right now. Denmark into the second spot. Gramforth trying to come after him. The battle further back, you can see it kind of stepping up. That is Rhys Ushijima trying to go to work here now on Liram Zendelli. So not only is he trying to find a way by his teammate Pizzi, but he's also got the guy behind him, Ushijima, for Jay Howard Driver Development, pushing. In morning practice today, Ushijima was P3. Felt comfortable with the way this track had kind of evolved. The 12 Hours of Sebring has brought a lot of rubber down and a lot more grip than spring training back a couple of weeks ago. Ivagoras, that's something you're going to be looking forward to, I think, feeling that grip through turn number 1.
Yeah, 2 very long races over last weekend happened with the 1,000 miles of Sebring and the 12 Hours of Sebring. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the racing line changes as the grip gets laid down, how the car feels, and changing the setup of the car accordingly.
A lot to be done when you roll out here. And that's kind of one of the advantages of running for a team that may have different groups. As we know, Jay Howard Driver Development, of course, already on the racetrack here with USF Pro 2000. Other teams like Exclusive and D-Force and VRD have been on track with USF Juniors and potentially the Pro 2000 class as well. So everybody getting a feel for it, and then, of course, taking that data, that understanding, and figuring out what you want to do setup-wise for the USF 2000 cars. Back onto the straightaway here at Ullman Straight, the long run down into turn number 17, out of 16. And once again, a little bit of a weave here as Miles Rowe trying to see if he can't break the draft. He's allowed to weave back and forth, not like he is defending at all. He's got enough of a gap, but just doing what he can to potentially hold that draft at a minimum for his teammate Jace Denmark. He's trying to reel him in. Remember, Miles Rowe comes in with a 3-point lead over Kiko Porto, who is dead last in the order right now. This is going to be unbelievably tough. It's going to allow Rowe to potentially pull out to a massive lead. Back down in 19 positions would put Porto at just 52 points. And with a win here, Rowe could be, 31 points ahead of Porto. What a horrible situation here for Porto. Here comes the battle again. Ushijima looking to the inside of 5. Does he pull alongside Zendelli? As they'll work their way up here. I want to say that I think maybe Missing might have got by too. We'll see what plays out when they come back around, but a lot of action as they work their way down into turn number 7. That's the hard-breaking right-hander. A little bit of a chicane coming out, a little right-left combination. Or I guess it would be left-right as you come through that cane. Come to the right corner, left, then right, back over for the sweeper over to turn number 10. Let's have a look when they come through. We may have a bit of an order. There's Rowe, Denmark, Grand Force, Pizzi, and there it is right there. There's the move into the, 5th spot for Jordan Missing. So Missing able to get up a spot here as well. So some issues there, I think, for Liram Zendelli as Missing went by, and I think Ushijima going to work on him as well. So not sure what happened to either Liram Zendelli or Francesco Pizzi. It's one of the TJ speed cars, but both of them white just with the numbers on the side. So pick up which driver that potentially could be. But yeah, you can see one of them has fallen back. There's the car right there. And right behind them then is Salvador de Alba, I believe, going to work. There's the 2 Turn 3 Motorsport cars, I think, coming through there as well. Jackson Lee and Jonathan Brown. We'll look at lap times. Last time by, Rose set the fast lap. Remember, there's a bonus point for that as well. A 2 flat 9.84 for Rowe, 2:01.024 for Denmark. So he's actually not that far back. The gap was less than a second last time by. There's Zendelli in that number 10 machine. So it's Zendelli that has fallen back. So move Pizzi there. Good run there for Jordan Missing as well, getting another position. Second-year driver here in USF Pro 2000. Lap number 8 going into the books. Rowe, Denmark. Now another fast lap for Rowe. The gap just over a second, but they were separated by just about a 10th. Rowe quicker than Denmark by just over a 10th of a second. So it's Rowe, Denmark, and Grand Force. You go 1.2 back from Grand Force. He's got some room. Back to Pizzi, who runs in the 4th spot. Jordan Missing and Risu Sujima now in 5th and 6th. Zendelli goes back to 7th. He's going to get some challenging here from Salvador de Alba. Yuven Sunerworthy and Christian Weir up into the top 10 now. So a good run for Weir as well. Miles Rowe looking to try to get yet another win. 3rd in the opening round at St. Petersburg behind Christian Brooks and Kiko Porto. Was able to work his way forward and grab the win in race number 2. Looking to go back-to-back and start potentially a streak here would extend his point lead. Think about this. 2nd in points coming into the event here was Kiko Porto. He's going to get a 19th place finish. So a win here for Rowe. The change would be massive. It would be 31 points, and that's almost a full race worth of points. 3rd in points was Christian Brooks. He's not here right now. He's not in this event, so he's going to fall down to the tail of the order as well. Francesco Pizzi in 4th, who now runs in 4th, is going to get those points. This could be a massive jump forward for Miles Rowe. Now, Ivagoras, it's early. It's very early in the season. We're not going to say it's really just, starting this thing off. The first chapter. We're not even through the first quarter of the year to a certain extent. But, man, as a driver, if you can get out to a lead like that, 30-something points, you're going to feel really comfortable heading to Indianapolis in May.
Yeah, when you have a gap like that, you're very relaxed. You don't have much pressure on you, and you don't have to finish first every single race.
Yeah.
A 2nd, a 3rd, as long as you're on the podium, you can still stay in the mix.
And to have built that lead up means you've had success, so you've got the confidence as well. So confidence and the ability to kind of play more a strategy game in terms of how many points you need to get.
Yeah, and when you build that gap, you know what you're capable of and what your team is capable of. So you know that you're going to be in the front for the entire season.
That's it. Miles Rowe looking to keep himself in the fight for that scholarship that would allow him to work his way into the Indy Next program next year. The scholarship, of course, will send that driver up to the top rung, essentially, one step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Who will it be, though? Long way to go. This is only the second round. We got lots of racing still to do. We've got to go to Indianapolis. We got to go to the Oval at IRP. Think about the races still to come. Road America, Mid-Ohio, Toronto. Some great tracks. Circuit of the Americas for the drivers here as well in USF Pro 2000. Of course, we'll cap it all off on Labor Day weekend at Portland International Raceway, heading to the Pacific Northwest to see who's going to walk away with that scholarship. And again, right now the gap, 1.3 seconds for Rowe over Denmark on that last lap. I want to know whether or not Grand Force has the speed. He's about 0.2 off, not quite there. There's your top five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rowe, Denmark, Grand Force, Pizzi, and Missing. P5. Missing actually just went purple. He just turned the fast lap of the race. Great job there for Jordan Missing, who is the fastest driver on the racetrack right now as he looks to put the hammer down. Again, the scholarship for the driver moving up, worth over $664,000 to move to Indy next year. And here's the big rundown. You see all the drivers so close. This is such a tight field. You see everybody on the straightaway essentially at the same time. There's Yuven Sundermurthy for Exclusive Autosport, currently running in the 8th spot. He's moved his way forward. Remember, he started back in 12th, so it's been a good move forward for Yuven Sundermurthy. Last time by, 0.2 quicker than Liram Zendelli. So Sundermurthy looks like he could be a driver on the move, potentially to try to go to P7. We'll keep an eye on him for sure. This is Missing now, closing in on Francesco Pizzi. This would be big not only for Jordan if he was able to get into P4, but it would be huge as well, points-wise, not only for the Drivers' Championship for Miles Rowe, but also for the Team Championship as well, because right now Pabst sitting first and second on the racetrack here right now, potentially with Missing in 5th. They could go to P4. That would be big for the Team Championship points as well. And that's one thing to look at as well, Eva Goris. You and Lockie looking good. Al Maury and Lucas St. Jean, your teammates as well. They're starting to put in good results. You guys get a chance to bring Jay Howard Driver Development a team championship as well.
Yeah, and getting that will be very, very good for the team morale and going into seasons in the future. And I think all of us, all four of us, we're all very, very fast. We all have the potential to overall, great rounded team to put us first for the team constructors.
The great thing about the team championship, Ivagorz, is it's not just the driver. Obviously, the driver goes out to win. The team puts the car together and they go out and drive. It's like it's a complete group effort, right? A group accolades for everybody involved in the team because all the drivers are in there, all the mechanics are involved, the strategists, everybody involved in that kind of success. So that's always a big award for the teams to win. We are working our way closer to the end of this one. It's a 15-lap race, 10 laps down. 5 laps remaining. It'll be 4 to go this next time by. Last time, looking at Miles Rowe, he was 0.2 quicker again. 10th quicker last time by than Denmark. The gap now 1.4 seconds. Here's this fight a little bit further back. That is actually De Alba and Sundermurthy right now. So De Alba and Sundermurthy. I think De Alba was able to get by Yuven, so that I believe could be De Alba up in 8th, Sundermurthy back into 9th. So it's the two Exclusive Autosport drivers battling inside the top 10. If you look further back, we can see a battle coming. Here they are coming through. De Alba looking strongly here right now. He is 8th, Sundermurthy 9th, Christian Weir in 10th. Rowe now leading by just a second because guess who just went purple last time by? A 1:59.7 for Jace Denmark. Closes it down to a second. Denmark closing on that lap. Will he get quicker and quicker over the final couple of circuits here? 12 laps down, 3 to go. The gap just a second. And he was quicker by 0.3. He needs a bunch of laps like that for Denmark to potentially put the pressure on. That swerving back and forth on the straightaway for Miles Rowe is going to come back again because his teammate's coming. And you can be guaranteed that he's going to get the call. Grand Force is right there as well. So is Pizzi and so is Missing. Man, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are close. Less than a half a second probably separating all of them coming through. So unbelievably close action here. Rowe, though, looking to get his 2nd win of the season. Will it come here to kick off a doubleheader at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring? 3.7 miles, this racetrack. 17 corners, and it's a bumpy one. It is a ride for sure. These drivers will all be heading to the massage therapist next week because you guys, Eva Goris, are going to be sore. And you're young, and you're still going to be sore.
Yeah, I mean, Sebring, it's like I said before, it's like a permanent street course, It's very bumpy, which I guess that's what makes it so special. You know, that's what makes it so different from everything else, where it needs a different kind of driving, you know, a different style of driving to be able to cope with those bumps, and a different kind of car setup, you know, so the car can cope with the bumps and, you know, it doesn't upset the car too much.
That's it. You're going to approach this track much different than you would a smoother circuit. That is for sure. Rowe still holding on to that pace up front. Getting some good laps in the books. Last time he was actually 3 or 4 tenths quicker. There's a driver's drop the wheel. That is Missig. Jordan Missig almost throwing it off the track on the outside of turn number 1. He dropped the right side wheels on the other side. We talked about that earlier. With all the rubber that's gone down, all the racing from the 12-hour, the gap on the outside of the curb where drivers have dropped wheels, you do that over 1,000 kilometers of WEC racing, and then, of course, the 12 hours as well of the Sebring 12-hour. Man, guys are dropping wheels left and right, and the outside of that, those curbs is very deep. The drop-off is significant, more so than it would be once they fill it back in. So these drivers, when you make a mistake like that, it's going to pull you off the racetrack. You have to be very, very wise and very smart in terms of getting to the outside of those curbs. You don't want to use all of them, otherwise you find yourself in trouble. And a driver potentially in trouble right now could be Jace Denmark. For a bit there, he turned a fast lap of 1:59.7, backed it up with a 2:5, went about 8 tenths slower, not able to keep that 1:59.7 pace up, and that has actually brought Joel Gramforce back into the fight. He's only a half a second back. Gramforce currently sitting P3. He's got Pizzi behind him. He's thinking about trying to make a run at it. 3 laps to go. Rowe, Denmark, Gramforce, Pizzi, and Missig, top 5. Ushijima in 6th. Zendelli 7th. De Alba and Sunamer the 8th and 9th. Weir in 10th. Miller 11th. Lee 12th. Brown 13th. Garg, Brewer, D'Orlando. The drivers remaining on the racetrack, Escoto, Monteiro, and Porto are done. Beautiful machine there for the Pabst Racing with Force Indy set up for Miles Rowe through 17. 2 to go, I believe, this time by 13 laps down. Look at this battle. Here comes Gramforce. Joel Gramforce to the bottom, almost touching wheels. Gramforce to the inside, book it. And here comes Pizzi. Gramforce goes to second. Joel Gramforce up into the second spot. He will defend now, I believe, up into turn number 3. He does. He's got the spot right now. He's going to try to pull away from Denmark. So move Joel Gramforce up into second. There is to the inside Pizzi. Trying to find a way by Denmark as well. They'll work the way out of turn number 5 through 6. Down into turn number 7. Big run here for Pizzi. Does he make a move to the inside? To the inside to cover off goes Denmark. Pizzi trying the bottom. They're side by side coming out of turn number 7. Pizzi, I think, has the spot. Pizzi's gone to third. Had to visually look over my shoulder from the PA booth for that, but when you see them come back into our view here of turn number 10, you're going to see Rowe, then Gramforce, then Pizzi. Look at the white car of Pizzi, I believe, coming through. And there he is. Pizzi's gone to third. Denmark goes back to P4. So the Poles that are back to 4th position. His teammate right behind him, that's Jordan Missig. There's the gap to Reese Ushijima, who's got a couple of car lengths over Liram Zendelli, Salvador De Alba, Yuvan Sunamerdi, and Christian Weir. That's the run through turn number 17. Of course, you're getting a good look here. You're getting an opportunity to kind of learn a bit here. Man, if you can't get through that corner cleanly, you're going to find someone right on you coming down into 1.
Yeah, and you know, all these corners, they all link together in a way. You know, you have the outside one corner, then you have the inside the next. So it's really you know, a lot can change in a lap. He started that lap like I'd say second or so, and then now he's down into 4th. So a lot can change in one lap, but you know, right now you'd think he'd probably be pretty frustrated, but you just have to, in situations like this, you just have to stay cool. You know, just stick with the guys in front of you, stay cool, and just salvage what you can.
That's it, man. Get the points you need early on here. As we said, Jace Denmark coming into this race sitting P5 in points, but with Porto having an issue, Christian Brooks not being here, there's a good opportunity. He'll move up to P3 after this race in the championship fight. It is a long season. Right now, though, out front as the leader is Miles Rowe. 2.5 seconds last time by. White flag flying. There's the 55 of Pizzi, who made a good move to the inside over in turn number 7. But watch him again. It's a huge gap now out of turn number 6. The big sweeping right-hander for Miles Rowe. He'll get the call from his spotter, and you got lots of room. Gramforce, what a great run for Joel Gramforce here today. Started 6th up into 2nd. Could this be the arrival of Grand Force. We've seen a number of great drivers come over from the GB3 category. You think of the Anama Meds, Louis Foster, who have come over here and done extremely well. Foster, of course, the reigning champion in this Pro 2000 category. Grand Force finishing second last year, essentially taking up the spot of Louis Foster. And again, like we saw with Foster, took him a couple of weekends to get comfortable with the racing over here, the car, the tire itself, learning the Cooper tire, a different tire than they run in the GB3 category. So indeed, Grand Force stepping things up here now. A P2 position would give him lots of momentum heading into tomorrow, where we'll have separate qualifying for race number 2. So we'll press the reset button, do it all again. Through 17, Rowe looking pretty good. Big gap back to the rest of that group coming through. So as they work their way on to turn 16, they'll come down turn 17, and we will have the drivers working their way through. Looks like we may have a trouble with our turn 17 camera. Not going to get it to pick up. So we'll just wait for them to work their way out of the final corner. This is a fight further back. D'Orlando is down a couple of laps, still scrapping away with one of his turn 3 motorsport teammates. But we sit here and await the potential winner. Indeed, out of turn number 17, he won the second race at St. Petersburg. Call it back-to-back jacks. The win for Miles Rowe. Pabst Racing, Force Indy, scoring the victory here in race number 1 at Sebring. Joel Grand Force coming home in second, 3.2 seconds the margin of victory. Francesco Pizzi in third, Jace Denmark in fourth, Jordan Missing in fifth. Sixth was Liram Zendelli. His final lap was his best. Salvador De Alba able to get by Reese Ushijima late, so De Alba up into seventh. Ushijima in eighth, Yuvan Sundaramurthy in ninth, and Christian Weir rounding out the top 10. A little bit of an incident early on. We lost a couple of laps, but after that, Eva Gors settled in. We saw some great racing. Miles Rowe didn't flinch. Not one mistake at all, but man, the battle for second on back was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, for Miles Rowe, pretty dominant. He started pretty well, got himself up into first, and, just put the laps in, stayed consistent, hit his marks, and did what he had to do. But, yeah, second place, big scrap for that. Big group of, like, three, 4 cars, I'm not sure. But, yeah.
Good stuff, Eva Gors. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, Eva Gors Papasavas joining me here. He'll be on track tomorrow morning for USF 2000. Best of luck. You come in here looking good in points. Great run for sure at St. Petersburg. Have a good one.
Yep, thank you.
Eva Gors Papasavas from J. Howard Driver Development. Folks joining me here. Listen, these drivers are going to be heading to victory lane right now. I won't be there. We're not going to have it live because with a little break in the action there, we had an issue with those yellows. We pushed the time. We're not far away from getting things underway here for the drivers in this USF Juniors event. They're going to cap things off. I'm set to go with driver introductions in about 5 minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll run some commercials, and we'll come back and fill you in on the grid for USF Juniors.